Hi everybody, I hope you're all well. It's the middle of the day and I've had to turn the lights on because it's gone really dark and heavens are about to open um, here. So it's that time of year, I cannot believe it. It's time to review the books that I read in 2023. This past year has felt like it's gone in a heartbeat, but it was really long at the same time. There was so much that happened, and to be honest, for some elements of this year, I'm glad that it's over, and other elements I will always remember for the positives. So, quick recap of my year. I took a couple of trips. I had that wonderful couple of nights in Oxford. I stayed at the Randolph Hotel, which was wonderful. And back in October, I then went to York, which was an experience that I'll never forget. I adored York so much. I think I'm going to have to make it an annual thing. I got to see my childhood best friend who lives there. We haven't seen each other since we were about 5 years old. And we randomly found each other on Facebook about 5 years ago. And I was planning to go up to York, and then COVID hit and that changed everything. And so I had put off going because obviously expenses since after the whole lockdown and everything, it was so expensive to go up there. And then she recommended me this hotel, which looked absolutely amazing, and it really was, and it was really decently priced. So I thought, you know what, let's go. And I did, and I had the best time. I had the best time. So I'm gonna really look back on 2023 for York, what happened in York, is a really amazing thing. What wasn't amazing was a lot of stress. Well, there were a couple of things that happened. First, my dad fell ill right at New Year, and he has been well at all. And on my birthday in June, he ended up having an operation that lasted multiple hours. And such. He's doing good. Just to confirm, he's all right. He's still waiting on possibility of having a second operation, but it's now been 6 months and he hasn't heard anything yet. So we don't know as and when that will happen. But he actually retired like a week or something before he fell ill and had to be taken straight into surgery. So he's now been retired for 6 months, and I think that has been absolutely amazing, because if he was still working and trying to deal with all of that lot, that would have been very, 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 very stressful. But he was kind of like that once he fell ill in New Year, and so you had that 6 month period of him being, stressed with work and also dealing with that. I got stressed with work as well, and I had to take some time off and extend my holiday in June over my birthday and everything, which is when my dad had his operation. So it was just a very, June would just be stress in my mind when I think back on 2023. And because of that, I did want to read more in 2023, but I just found I couldn't. I used other things to distract me, like jigsaws and diamond painting and stuff like that. But I said, when with going through my to be read list and everything, I want it to be at my pace, what I'm comfortable with. I don't want to have pressures put on me. And so I was like, I have to go a bit slower, and you were all absolutely so lovely and supportive, and I am so thankful for that. You're absolutely amazing, all of you. And for everyone who watched a video, even if it was only for a few seconds, but liked or disliked my videos, left comments, thank you so much. I have loved the conversations I've been having this year. I've really enjoyed doing like the advent calendar this year as well, with Shop by Mum, and of course the incredible Cormoran Strike book that came out this year was all the conversations that I had, and people asking me to do extra videos and everything. It was incredible. I wasn't expecting anywhere near the amount of comments and views and everything that I got, so thank you so much. I say this every year and I really truly mean it, and I know I sound like a broken record for people who have watched my videos over the years, but truly thank you so much. I don't do this for like profit or a job or anything. This is just a hobby for me. I never ask people to subscribe because from my own experience on YouTube, I will subscribe to someone if I watch multiple of their videos and I like a range of their content. It really puts me off when people say you have to subscribe, you have to put like, you have to do comments, you have to go into this drawer, you have to follow me on every social media platform. No, I'm not going to do that. And so this is why I don't ask people to do that. I just hope that if you watch a video or multiple videos that you enjoy what I talk about. And I really love it when people comment and want to talk further about certain points in my videos, even if they, you know, they're talking about the same book and they completely contradict everything that I said. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, and having those comments and reading them and getting involved in those discussions has been wonderful. I really love it. So yeah, if you want to leave a comment, whether it's good or bad or whatever, just do it. And I like to reply to every single one of them, or as many of them as I can. I know this year, because as I said, because of various stresses and you know, life and all that lot, I may not have gotten to all of them, but if I hope that if for those who I have replied to, that you've been happy with what I have said. And I see people come back video after video after video, leaving comments, which is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, every single one of you. But now it's time to talk about the books that I have read this year. I had a look at my list, and this year I have reviewed on this channel, because I have obviously read books outside of this channel that you know, audiobooks, all that lot. I'm including audiobooks as books that I've read, and rereads, re-listens, all of that kind of stuff that I've done away from this channel. But on this channel, I've reviewed 33 books and I've read a total of 14,168 pages, which is about 100 pages more than last year and one book more than last year. As I said, I wanted to read more, but it was just circumstances, it wasn't possible. So I'm hoping that 2024 I will be reading more, but as I said, I'm just going to go at my pace. So if it's around this same number at this time next year, then so be it. It is what it is. But I read some amazing books. I read some terrible books. And it's time for me to reveal my top 5 best and worst books. So I think it's always good to start with the worst, because then that's out of the way and then we can focus on the best. Okay? So it took me a while to rank these, and to be honest, I'd like go, okay, I think that's it, walk away 5 minutes, come back and then change my mind. So I mean, these are definitely my 5 worst, and this is the positions that I've got them on at the moment. But I don't know, maybe after this video I would change the ranking, but either way, these are the 5. Okay, so in at number 5, it is The Reader on the 627. Now, this, I totally get, this is a debut novel, and debut novels have issues. It's bound to happen. It's going to happen. But there was some things I felt were kind of unforgivable with this. The fact that I had more interest in secondary characters who we never got much further with than the main character is a problem. And the way that it was structured was very odd. And I really couldn't forgive the ending of this book, because even though it's a love story and such, if I was the main female character in this book and the events played out as they do in this book, I would not find that romantic. I would be calling the police. The way in which our really only female character is depicted in this is nonsensical to me, and it just I was really hoping it would be lovely, but it really wasn't. And so I'm like, no, that was a massive issue that I had with this Davy novel. Like, if you're setting it in a especially in, more of a modern time period, as it were, it's not like this is hundreds of years ago where rules of society and that were very different. It's got to make sense for when it is being set. And as I said, if something which you would normally call the police about, you are making us believe is romantic, then that's a problem. That is a problem. So there we go. At number 5, it is The Reader on the 627. Then in at number 4, we have It's a Kate Morton, The Distant Hours. Now, I was reading through, Kate Morton's books this year, the bulk of them, and she really had an up and down, but this was hitting the rock bottom. This was a book in which it was just silly at times. It had such an abrupt ending, which she has never done before. Kate Morton is someone who ties up every single little thing and then goes there. She just goes wham and closes the book. And it's like, why? What is the point of that? There are things where, so for example, there is a character who, the whole thing of how their life plays out is to do with an event where they are seen with like blood on their hands, and it's like, what's the mystery there? Kate reveals the mystery, and it's like, well, wouldn't one of those individuals involved in that have mentioned it down the years and therefore proved her innocent? What? It was just nonsensical. And the actual sisters who we follow, it felt kind of a bit caricaturish. There was just, given that Kate Morton always writes to a distinct structure, and it is a way of flowing through her stories that she is renowned for, she has the goods. It's just this one, it kind of just felt like she went completely off the rails with what she usually does. It was bizarre. I don't know why she came up with this story, but yeah, it didn't make sense. Characters weren't all that great. The ending was just weird, and she didn't tie everything up. She just, at times it was like the answer was like, well, I don't know, shrug your shoulders and that's it. No, she doesn't do this normally. So why is she doing it with this book? I couldn't deal with this one. The Distant Hours is by far her worst book out of the lot. So that's number 4. Number 3 was the first time I had read work from this author, and I'm concerned about reading their works in the future. It is Mrs. England by Stacey Halls, a story which very much made me think, when I've read the back of the book, it's kind of like a Jane Eyre-esque thing. Oh, this is going to be good. But unfortunately, it just did not deliver. It became quite ridiculous. I figured out the ending less than 100 pages into this book, and I had to wait a further about 200 odd, maybe 300 pages to find out that I was right. If I am able to predict the ending of a book less than 100 pages in, where pretty much nothing has happened, that says something. That really does say something. And my mum has gave me, is it The Familiars? The Familiar? Yeah, I think it is, which is a book that Stacey wrote previously. I think that might have been her debut, but I'm not entirely certain. And said, because she gave it to me because she hated it. She said, try it. And I hadn't got around to it, but I picked up this one instead. And I'm like, if this is multiple books, because it says from the author of The Foundling, which is not the one that my mum says, so it's at least her third book, at least. If this is at least 3 books in and you are giving me that, I'm really worried about the previous books. So yeah, it was just ridiculous. The male lead male character even had a mustache, a twirly mustache that he would play with, and it's like, oh, for goodness sake, just don't do that. Do something smart, and it just do something that makes sense, please. So number 3 is Mrs. England by Stacey Hall. Okay. Number 2 was a DNF rather recently, and that was Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. I was really excited to read this because I loved the film Blonde, which is based on this book. I thought that was brilliantly constructed. So well done, and it's a fictionalized account of the life of Marilyn Monroe. So obviously there is a lot of things that need to follow the true Marilyn's life, but there is also the opportunities to do other things and, you know, speculate what really happened to her. If there is something different than what the official record says, I'll leave that up to you to decide how you feel about that whole situation and what the official report says. So there was such an opportunity to do some amazing stuff, and it just fell completely flat. It goes into the list with Hilary Mantel books like Wolf Hall and such, where this is being praised and I have no idea why. It is a book that is full of stuff, but nothing is happening. There's action and such happening on the page, but it's as dry as a bone. I just don't understand how you can take an individual that had the most amazing life and just suck all the juice of life and everything about her character out of it entirely. There is nothing really there. It also doesn't help that it's almost like Joyce is trying to be very poetic when that isn't really what we want. So there's chapters where every single sentence begins with the same thing, like death was, she was this way because, and it just literally gets read over and over and over and over again with a slightly different, and like, what is the point of this? What is the point? Please get on with it, the story. And when she gets on with the story, there is nothing there. There is no meat on the bone to make me carry on. So yeah, it's Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. I tried, I couldn't get past page 100, so yeah, had to go. And my number 1 worst read of the year has to go to the other DNF book that made me want to throw this across the room and scream. And that was Triflers Need Not Apply by Camilla Bruce. I was so excited to read this book. I was like, yes, a fictionalized account of a real life Edwardian murderer. Oh my God, yes. Belle Guinness was just her story. Belle Guinness is the real life murderer, and this is a fictionalized account, so her name is different in this book. I was like, okay, yes, let's do this. I'm really excited. Unfortunately, what happened was that it appears that Camilla kind of fell in love with Belle a bit, or at least the way in which she expressed herself, because the it felt so weird. It was like Belle was almost nearing angelic at times. She was so, it was so frustrating, should I say, like all of the kind of blame for things happening and that went to the sister. And it's like, no, let's not forget, this woman killed people. She killed her children. She was in. You can't just wipe that clean. I know that this is a fictionalized account, but at the same time, there are real life people who died because of this one. You need to respect them. And it almost felt like this, you're not doing that whatsoever. And I remember I went to the back to the author's notes, and I read this bit out loud in my review, and I did a voice message to my sister and our bestie Sarah, to say, look, listen to this. And I couldn't believe that she said, another thing about the original Belle is that as a mother, farmer and housewife at the turn of the last century, she would have worked all the time. The perhaps most impressive thing about her endeavour is that she found to execute it at all. Like, I'm sorry, no. I can totally understand where you have a subject that you have probably researched for possible years, and you are, you're going to, because you spend all this time with them, researching them, writing about them, you're going to form a bond with them. But I think when it comes to true crime, you need to remember that this individual killed people. So I'm just like, I cannot get over that. I cannot get over that. It was just terribly written. As I said, all the blame, the kind of various things related to the sister. It was just, Belle was almost like, she can't do, oh, poor Belle, no. She killed people. I'm sorry, but no. So my number one worst read of the year was Triflers Need Not Apply by Camilla Bruce. So there we go. In order of... Ooh, let's restack these because I'd stacked them weirdly. At number 5 for the worst reads, we have The Reader on the 627, then The Distant Hours, Mrs. England, Blonde, and then right at the top, Triflers Need Not Apply. Oh, I'm so glad I never have to read those books again. Right, okay. So, on to my best reads of the year. Oh, this one really, again, I went back and forth because I read so many great books this year. I just kept changing, and I was like, no, let's settle on these. Let's go for these. So here we go. At number 5, and this one, even though it is brilliantly written, I think it's to do with when I read it. And that is Thomas Hardy's Jude the Obscure. Jude the Obscure is an extraordinary, thought-provoking book that really encapsulated the darkness of the realities of society and the ranking of society. The way in which it approached various subjects, including a very, very dark subject, which is a real shocker moment in the book, which I'm not going to say because obviously spoilers, and also I don't want to make people uncomfortable whilst watching this. The way that he approaches his subjects, and it's true in all of his books, he just goes slam head on. This one especially, I still feel it. Kind of like how The Five, when I read that book, and to this day still won't leave me alone. I feel that way when I looking at Jude the Obscure on my bookshelf, but also I read this when my dad was really not well and he was in hospital around my birthday. And I remember I did my review of this at my mum and dad's house. because of situations, with what was going on with my dad and everything, and I needed to be in the house. There was a delivery, and because mum was at the hospital and all this lot, so I dealt with the house and everything. And I distinctly remember finishing this in my mum and dad's house and doing my review there, and it just takes me back to that. And it was weirdly, and I said this in my review, it was weirdly the greatest thing I could read at that time, but also the worst, because of stresses of family life and all that lot is a part of this book. But I will not be able to think of this book without thinking about my dad. And we got through it. He's fine. He's doing good. He's doing really, really well. And you remember kind of the darker stuff that happens, obviously, quite prominently in your mind. Not that you don't remember the good stuff, but it's the hardest stuff that is the thing that you think of first. I think everyone would agree that. And and you have, as somebody who loves reading, I'm sure many of you have this, where you will look at books and you can remember and tell someone where you were when you read that book. And I can tell you where I was exactly when I read that book, when I finished that book, and what was going on in my life during that time. And very weirdly, it really, really helped me deal with it. So number 5, it's Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy, an incredible, thought-provoking book that I will forever associate with my dad. Okay, that's number 5. Number 4 was the first book that I read in 2023 that absolutely blew me away. And I was like, how the hell have I slept not having read this author in my life before? How have I never, ever picked up her work? And that was Yellow Wallpaper and Other Writings by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, my God, when I'm been thinking back at various authors like Laura Purcell, C.J. Cook, Susan Hill, who else? Shirley Jackson. I was just about to say, I can't think of her name. Her name just popped into my head. When I think back at those gothic female authors who I have come to love over time and think of their work, I can see the influence of Charlotte Perkins Gilman. My God, this was incredible. I could not put this book down. I adored every single second of it. The frustrations and restrictions of being a woman in Victorian into Edwardian period, just the sheer exquisite brilliance of Charlotte's work is undeniable, and I am so sorry that it took me until 2023 to read her work. My God, she was incredible, and I strongly recommend anyone, please read the works of Charlotte Perkins Gilman, because wow. The Yellow Wallpaper is just unreal. Okay, then we're moving on to number 3, which I loved it so much. It was Queen, the Life of Elizabeth II. Queen of Our Lives, The Life of Elizabeth II by Robert Hardman. Now, I had the version that was published before her death. There is a subsequent version for after her death. On the hardcover, the way you tell is that it has her dates on it, and it has an additional chapter. The paperback version, which came out, I think, a couple of months ago, it's only the second version that includes the extra chapter is the one that's been published in the paperback. So if you get the paperback, you're reading a version that I didn't read, because as I said, I've got the original. What an extraordinary book this is. Robert did an exquisite job of writing a book about the Queen that was completely unbiased. It is something, especially with royal biographies and such, it's something that you find doesn't really happen. There's always kind of like a bit of a bias angle to it, but Robert has beautifully constructed this book and has gone through so much history. Just all of that, he managed to get through 70 years of and obviously 90, I think she was 95 when this was published. I may be wrong there. I quite possibly am wrong there, but over 90 years of life that he managed to fit into this book, plus the obviously lives of people who came into her life, like Philip, obviously her family, the various children, their spouses and children. There is so much happening in this book, and he keeps it at such a well-written pace that just explores beautifully the life of an extraordinary woman and completely recognizes her for the unique, extraordinary person she was in a completely unbiased manner. And I love him for that. This is I'm going to say, because of the next book, one of the best biographies I read this year. And also, I think it's one of my favorite royal biographies that I have read. I think it was extraordinary. So at number 3, it's Queen of Our Lives by Robert Hardman. So at number 2, it's another non-fiction. I said a biography because of what I just said. And that was the exquisite Agatha Christie by Lucy Worsley, a very elusive woman. I cannot tell you how excited I was when it got announced that Lucy Worsley was writing this book. Agatha Christie is one of the most extraordinary women that has ever existed. Her story is unbelievable. I adored the 4-part, just debating myself, I think 4-part TV series that Lucy Worsley did about Agatha, which coincided with the release of this book. And so obviously I got a hold of it and I managed to read it. I thought it was wonderful. I love the fact that it was a woman who wrote this book, which I know sounds silly, and female authors have written about Agatha before, but Lucy is, I think, an extra special historian. The way in which she approaches her subjects, the way that she asks questions, the way that she likes to explore things just catches my attention and my imagination. The fact that in the, the big mystery of what happened to Agatha, she tells the events of the days leading up and obviously the disappearance and after from 2 ways. She completely side by side. So she will show from the way of what the evidence has, and then she will do Agatha. So it will literally do like half a page of the evidence, half a page of Agatha's actual words that she wrote in an article about what happened to her years later, and she never spoke about it again. Then half page evidence, half page Agatha, and so on and so on and so on until all the events are done. So it's just exquisitely done that you have that side by side, and she just hasn't gone, well, this is the evidence and we're just going to ignore what Agatha said. No. Agatha had a voice. Agatha said what she said, and Lucy presents it beautifully. I enjoyed every second of reading this book. I was so upset when the book ended. I was really upset when the book ended. So, and it just makes me smile whenever I look at it. I love the cover. I adore the cover so much. The fact that it's a black and white photo which has been put in colour and the cardigan's all in red. It's just the boldness of character, the way that she's looking at. Oh my God, I love it. I love this so much. I cannot express. So, and that's number 2, Agatha Christie by Lucy Worsley. And number 1, I think you can all guess what number 1 is. If you see my channel and my various videos, if you know my likes, my dislikes, it was, of course, The Running Grave by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. I will never, ever forget the reading experience of reading this book. I took 4 days off work. I read it in 3, and I was a total mess. I just literally, I went out, got a copy, got home right away, locked the door, and I didn't unlock the door for days. I was just there in the moment. And I cannot believe that this exists. It is the most brilliant thing that I have read this year. The story, the depth of it, the everything. It is not just a story, it is a masterpiece. JK literally came along and blew all of her previous work out of the water. How does she do it? I do not understand, and left us with such a cliffhanger unlike anything she has ever done before. I was screaming. I was crying. If you watch my video, because I did a few videos in the end about it. I cried throughout reading this book, but I cried in my review of this book because I was just so blown away. This is just so well put together. I cannot fathom that I have been able to read this book when it got published. You know how sometimes, you know, you'll look back at books and go, oh, I wish I was there when that came out. Oh, I wish I did. Like even with me with Harry Potter. Yes, Harry Potter came out in my time, but I actually first read the Harry Potter books after the last book got published. So I missed everything. And I would go, oh, if only I would been paying attention and that I was growing up, you know, and I was living my life and everything. I wasn't paying attention. But I'm feeling that feeling I think I would have experienced if I'd been a fan of Harry Potter at the time with the Cormoran Strike books. And I am so overwhelmed and overjoyed that I get to experience that. And my God, this, as I said, she blew all of her previous work out the water with this. And if this is book 8, and we know we're getting, oh no, is it 7, 8, 4, 5, 7? Is it? No. Yeah, 7. Sorry, my mind went completely then. I was thinking 7 or 8, 7. No, it's 7. So if this is book 7, and she said there's going to be about 10, and we know that she's already written structures for 8 and 9 because she's a bit at that. So if this is book 7, what the hell is she going to do with books 8, 9, and 10? I'm genuinely afraid. I'm genuinely afraid of what she's going to put us through in those 3 books, because holy crap, this was just the most extraordinary thing, I would say, because I'm going to say it, I think this is probably the best thing that got published this year. I'm going to say it. There we go. So I'm going to have to do this the other way around this time, because I'm not going to be able to hold 2 paperbacks and then stack it with 3 hardbacks. So from top to bottom this time, instead of bottom to top, my top 5 reads of the year were Jude the Obscure, the Yellow Wallpaper and Other Readings, Queen. I just realised I subbed it upside down. Oh well, you can cope with that. Queen of Our Lives, Agatha Christie, and then The Running Grave. What an extraordinary year of reading I feel like I have had. And as I said, compared to other channels, I've done diddly squat. I've done 33 reviews, but I'd rather have it be 33 reviews that I can remember every single one and everything that I went through with my emotions than have so many that I can't remember. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this review of the year. Once again, thank you so much to every single one of you who watched the video, commented, left me a like or a dislike. everyone who followed like my advent calendars, who asked for more videos on various topics. I just thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful 2024. Yeah, and I guess I will see you then. So thank you all again. I love you all. You're all brilliant. I'll see you later then. Bye.